in the main deck. You'd have to look into its pool, but I think if it had a lightning strike, it would be in the main deck regardless, especially on a 4.
You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
And we are back, the final 8th round of this Swiss bracket here for the Sealed Tournament hosted by aReNGee Eternal, sponsored by KCBandit. I am SirRhino, and here to help bring part of this tournament to a close. We still got top 8 to go, but here to at least get this part of the tournament done and help break down this final action-packed round is Man Unmouse. And he might be having some technical difficulties. I'm not sure.
Oh, never mind. I'm here. I'm sorry. It's getting late. I forgot to hit the push to talk button. What I was about to say is that those lists, they are getting me excited. 13TM is running a Time Justice Primal mix here, and he has some nasty top-end Sue, excellent weapons. He has Roland's Fist and Valkyrie Wings to slap on his plethora of flying units. I guess you don't really need a flyer for the Valk Wings. He also is running Steelfang Chakram, another excellent weapon in the grindy matchup, as well as Knight Chancellor Seraph. So he is, once you get to high power levels, he is going to be a menace to deal with. 13T, almost pro. He is on an Archiport list with a little Time Splash. He is somewhat removal light, unfortunately, but his consistency, I think, will make up for that. He has the rest of Roland attached to the Fist in his deck. Roland the Iron Fist is a hard card to beat in draft, making all your Justice units invulnerable and giving them endurance. That is total over.
Yep, so we're going to get into this match and let them know that they can get started. Just as far as standings are concerned and implications for this match, 13TM is 6-1. So if he wins, he is in the top 8. Meanwhile, Almost Pros, this is a pair down, so is currently X2. Win could maybe make it in on tiebreakers. Don't know how good Almost Pros tiebreakers are. So that is what's riding on this match again. Both players just really want to win. And based on this hand, you wouldn't be able to tell that 13TM is based Time Justice Primal, as they have 2 of their 3 fire sigils in their starting hand. Not great.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. He was also forced to use his Seek Power in the early stages to look for primals, so at least 2 out of his cards are playable. I mean, he's not in a terrible shape here. If he finds 1 more power, at least he can start equipping his units with Chakram here. That is one of the worst draws. Feels so bad finding you find the way and having no time influence.
Yeah, that is just unfortunate for sure. We'll still get to play a power this turn and a Scaly Gruon. And again, if he draws any power, he'll start to put Chakrams on these units and have real pressure. But right now, just a Hand of Uncastables is not really where you want to be. Needs a lot of help from the top of their deck. We'll see what Almost Pros has here as a follow-up. As you said, is just a real nice, straightforward Argenport list. A couple of time splashes here and there. Awakened Student, Sand Viper to give some... Oh, there it is.
Excellent find
We got a game.
Oh, he chooses to go for the Chakram first, though. He wants the pressure. I can see it, though. He could have chosen to go with double Find the Way, set up better turns in the future, but I can see it. He's not under pressure, right? The Screwan is doing a good job at holding down the Paladin here. He's taking 1 in the air while he's cracking back for 5.
Yeah. And oh man, daggers come down on a Paladin. For now, just 1 dagger. 13TM's kind of hoping to see a second one come down so that they don't have a follow-up dagger to put on if you bounce it with Displacer. There we go. Almost Pros commits, gets that fully powered up 5/5 lifesteal Paladin, and has a power to sprinkle on too.
Oh, that is going to work. There are the Valkyrie Wings as well. 13 drawing all his big stuff here. Though he's kind of in a pickle, though, because he wants to look for a second time. He's kind of forced because he can't raise the Paladin here. So he wants to look for a second time first to get the Praxis Displacer going next turn. And then he will worry about the... Oh, he's holding back here. Does he want to trade with the Bright Mace? That is interesting. Maybe he's trying to bluff the block here.
All right. It gets the cripple out from Almost Pros. he might opt to block the 1/1 flyer just to get the chakram back, and yeah, now it's just the paladin coming in, chooses to preserve his life total, not take that 5, get the chakram back. We'll use displacer to bounce that paladin, reset the make the daggers fall off, and refreshes the draw for turn. Not exactly the highest impact spell, but it can be useful in a pinch.
Yeah, but this Gruan, if 13 finds one more Justice here, that could be one scary Gruan. He could slap Valkyrie Wings plus Chakram on it. That is one highly armored Gruan here. Totally mechanized dinosaur.
Yeah, he'll be adopted by the Valkyrie folk as one of them. And there's a power, but it's Fire Sigil number 3. 3TM plays 3 Fire Sigils total in their deck and drew all of them this game.
Rough.
Yeah.
Could have chosen if he wants to, since he's kind of behind in the race. 1/1 is going to be problematic soon. He could have chosen to go with the Familiar now and play the Chakram on the Familiar to threaten the units in the air. Oh, that is brutal here.
Ooh.
Civic Peacekeeper is slow card, but one of the... Oh, okay.
Yeah, Almost Pros wants to make sure he's not getting raced too hard here, and by locking down the Gruon, you're locking down this Chakram. It's stuck on him for now. 3TM, speaking of racing, finds a Flash Freeze, but that's not going to do a whole lot in this spot, as Almost Pro is not interested in trading off Civic Peacekeeper for a Displacer.
No, and once the Valkyrie Aspirant gets to ultimate here, presenting 8 power in the air, it's going to be a dicey situation. I mean, 13 can start blocking here if he wants to use his refresh on the Familiar. He can limit it so that he only takes 4 this turn, or 3, I should say. And next turn, if he rips a Justice Sigil, he has Flash Freeze plus Valkyrie Wings open.
Yeah, so... Yeah, 13's got some strong cards in hand that are screaming race, 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 but right now he is behind in the race, and we know Almost Pros has a Bright Mace Paladin in hand, and any power that he finds is going to turn into a daze, right? Stunning a unit. Almost Pros just will have to choose what to stun, and it looks like it's not power, because if it was power, we would have seen it come down, I think, pre-combat, maybe buff up the Aspirant, so we'll see what Almost Pros follow-up is as Flash Freeze comes out and locks down the 2/3/3s.
Choose to Flash Freeze now. There comes the Bright Mace. Could have maybe hold the Flash Freeze a little bit longer to maybe push lethal, although to be fair, his opponent is still at 17, so it's going to be rough. Yeah, that's a rough spot to be in. Getting punished for his less consistent power base here, right? Almost Pros with his somewhat rigorous deck here, only two factions with a slight time splash here, performing better.
Yeah, it's not often you see a deck find a Seek power and a Find the Way and still not hit their influence requirements.
Yeah.
But that is what we're seeing here. And Almost Pros finds that 8th power, now gets to boost up the Valkyrie Aspirant. And 13's in a rough spot here. But as you said, there's this refresh line of play available.
Yeah, I think he wants to do it here. Try to stall out the game. Yeah, yep. I like it.
Yeah, 13's in a tough spot. There we go.
That is a good draw. Now I can, I completely agree here. Try to finish out the game. The problem is the 5/6 will not be able to push through in the air next turn if Almost Pros decides to hold back.
The other problem is you've got one flying blocker that can be stunned. But again, Almost Pros now is at 7, so they've got to start thinking about their own life total here as well. But we know they've got at least one other kind of spell in hand. They missed power with like 4 cards in hand. So we'll see what else they've got in store for 13TM here.
Yeah, it's a rough spot. You can't really start to stun the 1/6 now here, I feel. You are somewhat too far behind in the race. Stunning the 1/6 allows you to swing in, but the crackback looks too harsh here to really go for the kill. You can't even 5. He could, if he has power, he could stun the 1/6, swing with everything, and force 13TM to jump with the Stranger here and then go down to 3. use the tower top patrol to jump and hope that your
Mhm.
opponent doesn't rip a removal spell here. So if he has power in hand, he can set up a lethal swing, or he can set up a 2-turn lethal here, and does not lose. He only loses to a removal spell there.
Yeah, because if you're not going for the kill here, let's see, 13TM's got a big Aegis flyer, but you can block it. They have no cards, but they also kind of have the inevitability built in of this Steelfang Chakram. And here we go. A couple of blockers from pros come down, so no power available. And will they just sit back and wait until this familiar gets stunned? Or do you crash in with the 5/5 and the 3/3 and get in 3 damage?
Push in 3 damage and take 5 on the. Oh, he's going for it.
Oh, this lets 13 double block the Civic Peacekeeper.
And he
But
takes what? He takes 11, goes down
you'd
to.
go to 3.
Oh, that might be too harsh. You are dead on the
Mhm.
crackback next turn. Or you are dead to an ace space if he goes down to 3 here. So he
Yeah.
might not be able to afford. Yeah, I think he just has to jump even, maybe. Going down to 5 means next turn, if your opponent finds power, you have 3 blockers available to you. And even if he doesn't find power, I think you are dead here.
Yeah, I think you're just staring down way too many units on one side of the board. And at 5 health, they're gonna get through. Yeah. 13TM just passes, crosses his fingers, and hopes that maybe he's bluffing something.
Yeah.
Spooks almost pros into some sort of misplay here.
It's your best line you can take in that spot, right? Hold your power, cross your fingers, and hope you represent something your opponent is scared of so he doesn't go for it. Looks like the way almostprose is hovering though is oh boy, yeah, that's just so game.
Yep. Buff the whole board, take out one of your blockers, a space in, and that'll be game 1. Going to
Inspire Obedience being one of the best cards you can really find in that kind of situation. Both players are close to dying. And then suddenly you remove a blocker and buff your whole board. That is usually game. Even if he wasn't in a good spot already, this Inspire Obedience would have most likely sealed the game anyway.
Yeah, Inspire Obedience, sometimes viewed as a necessary evil that you sometimes have to play in draft just because it's so expensive, but it's unconditional removal. And in that kind of situation where you just need to kill something or get a whole lot of extra attack, it does both of those in spades.
Yeah, and you don't mind playing a slower card in sealed, right? You're completely fine playing a 7-drop here that can swing a game around real easily. The only reason it doesn't see that much play in draft because it's really slow, but it has a huge swing potential on the game.
Yeah, in draft, I'm usually not happy to play more than one, but I'll begrudgingly play the first. And sealed, I think I would play 2, and depending on the deck, 3. Although that's starting to stretch it even in a slower format like sealed.
Yeah, I mean, I've lost to the triple Inspire Obedience in draft as well. Like 3 consecutive Inspire Obedience can end games pretty well. But yeah, I agree. I think 1 is as a one-off. It is fine in draft. Multiples do tend to get very clunky real quick.
Yeah, so it looks like the second game is underway. So we'll hop on in, see what 13TM is up to, and it's got 2 power. I don't know if they've mulled yet or not. They might be waiting. But as it stands, there's a lot of strong cards here. I don't know how many you can cast even with 4 influence in hand.
That's the problem about his deck, right? His card quality is really high, but if they are just stuck dead in your hand, it doesn't help you all that much. The hand is tempting to keep because apart from fire, you have everything. But then again, fire is kind of one of your splash colors. You don't run that many sigils off.
Right. We saw that he had 3 fire sigils last game, but that's literally all of the fire sigils in their deck. That was certainly anomalous. So it's actually not that likely to find the fire source. And having 2 strong early plays that are locked out from you is not a good spot to be in. But yeah, it looks like either kept it or this is what they mulled into. So it's just going to have to hope that they either I mean, they have to find power, and they have to find, ideally, firepower.
I mean, he does have a good amount of fixing. He's running 3 Seeks. He's running Find the Way. Not that unlikely that he gets his fire fixing. He also has a Stone Scar Stranger as well as, I guess the time for the
Yeah.
for the diplomatic seal is gone.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh, man. Not only does it not find any power here, but it's just a flash freeze, and an Awakened Student is here. And if that gets out of range of Sword and Ikaria or Torch, this is going to be real hard for 13TM to win.
Yeah, Awakened Student, as close to a bomb as you get on the common level of cards, really. Absolutely soul crushing to see this guy come down off curve, have an answer for it in hand, and not be able to play it because you're missing 1 influence. Can get rough real quick here for 13TM, and almost is not going to hold back.
Yep, Pro's leaving nothing to chance, doesn't want it to stay a 3-3, doesn't want it to even be a 4-4, throws the daggers on. That's a 5-5 Awakened Student. 13TM's already down to 20, and Almost Pro's only swung with his 2-drop once.
Yeah. This dude, he's holding back here, interesting. I like this move. He's not intending to block, but that might, or the Sabotage giving him perfect information here, what to play around. That is so rough here.
Yeah, and I imagine you'll leave the Sword of Ikaria in hand and take the fast spell of Torch out, just because that can, if they start holding it up going forward, it could be real annoying to deal with. But we'll see what Almost Pros goes with.
I don't think I agree with using the Flash Freeze here, though, as Helio for 10. Now, Almost Pros most likely going to use the Torch here. To pick the Torch or the Sword of Ikaria. Both do the same thing, but the Torch can be used on defense, setting up a multi-block on the student and then use Torch to finish him off. So that leaves him with very little defensive utility here now.
Right, so if you didn't cast Flash Freeze, they either don't take it, or if they do take it, you have the out of being able to cast Torch and Sword of Ikaria on the next turn. 13TM instead didn't give Almost Pros that decision to make, and now is just beating down with a Scaly Goron and a Stranger with a whole bunch of nice birds in hand, but they're in hand, not on the board.
Yeah, and once again, consistency paying off here big time for Pros, being able to play all his cards. But even if 13 would draw power, I mean, at this point, the Torch is gone. I guess his hand is fairly playable now at this point. But yeah, not having the early influence to play his cards there, I think might cost him the game. If that student died on turn 2, the game would look vastly different here.
Yeah, instead it survived, and now it's an 8-8. And it's got a owl friend to go with it. 13TM is at a normally healthy 20 life points right now, but when you're looking at 11 damage already coming in, it's time to start throwing in the chump blockers as Xenon Stranger goes down.
Yeah, and I don't think he has an answer for that. He is running. Let me quickly check. I don't see a Rampage. Yeah, I don't see a Vanquish here. I don't see a Slay. Yeah, he might be out of answers to this big guy here.
Another fire spell to draw for 13TM, so that'll be stranded in hand as well. And this is looking like this is all Almost Pros, this game and this match so far.
Yeah, looks like Pros is in the abyss here. I don't think there are any cards. Here's the deadly Sand Viper. Or was it Almost that runs it?
Oh,
never mind. It is in Almost. It's in the wrong list. It's not going to have 13 out here whatsoever.
Yeah, well, there's a power finally. So Champion of Wisdom come down, but a 4/4 for 4 is not turning this nightmare around for 13TM.
Yeah, Drive Director in general, decent card, but it's not. That is just game. Almost Pros here. Putting on the screws, not letting 13TM come back in this game whatsoever. I mean, even without the Varus choice here, there was most likely not much hope.
Yeah. It's not exactly the straw that broke the camel's back. I think that was broken a long time ago. And Yeah, Roland's Fist, good card. Not when you have no units to put it on or the power to use it.
Yeah, rough match there. To be fair, he also played with the. He has a very widespread color influence requirement in this deck. He also was playing with minimal sigils. So it's a risky line to take. I mean, he plays Find the Way, he plays Seek Power, but even then, if you run so many different colors with even two just double influence requirements are somewhat tricky to cast. You need to make sure you have a really solid power base to support this the rainbow strategy.
Yeah. Building a good power base is tough, and that's all part of building a good deck. It's all part of the challenge of playing Seal. You got to identify what cards you want to play, how to put them together, how to support them. There's a whole lot of skill being tested here. And even if you figure that all out, sometimes the game will be like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Let me show you. So, you win some, you lose some, but still a good showing there. And I don't think actually that they're eliminated from top 8 contention just yet, even with that loss, because they were X and 1. Just means that they did not lock up top 8 there. 13 TM, I mean. Yeah, 13 TM. Yeah, it was a win and in, but even with the loss, 13 TM may make top 8. I'm not sure how their tiebreakers are. There's going to be a lot of 6 and 2 players. Only so many will make the cut. So 13 TM still has a chance at top 8, but we'll just have to wait and see. Who knows? Maybe their opponent there with that win could be the one that leapfrogs them. I'm not even sure.
Shame. I really wanted to see the Roland's battle it out. What is stronger, the Fist or the Roland himself? Because he's going to, if you have seen the set 2 spoilers, Roland is going to lose his Fist. So, we could have
Roland's
seen,
having a rough time.
Yeah, we could have seen what is worth more, the man or just his Fist. The card is pretty brutal. I've been crushed by Roland's Fist multiple times in draft. Yeah, does it see any constructed play? I don't think, right? It's too clunky, I feel.
Yeah, in constructed, you generally have a little more reliable removal and silences, so the crushing ability of giving everything immune to damage and endurance isn't quite
I meant the Fist.
Oh, the Fist? Not Roland himself? The Fist himself? Yeah, no, we've got better weapons to play in constructed generally. Like +7 stats is a lot. That's a whole lot. But we've got things like Deep Forge Plates and Hammer of Mights that usually just the Fist gets left to the side. So we're trying to find some backup matches. I'm waiting on Miller and Rick Henner in the back to figure out if we've got any good action to duck in on. I'm getting an almost. An almost is what we've got. So let's see how the rest of the bracket's shaking out. Who's locked it up so far? One step behind, went 8-0. That is our 8-0 player. So congrats to One Step Behind. Not an easy feat to accomplish. I know neither of us have ever gone 8-0 in a limited event in Eternal. So they got that claim to fame.
Oh, yeah. That is quite the feat, yeah.
Yeah, the best I've ever done is 7-0. Turns out you can't do more than that.
Yeah, it's. I guess technically you can if you just sprinkle on a 1-0 in the next draft.
Yeah. Oh, in that case, I've got 8-0 beat pretty good. Let's see who else is at least X-1 and locked up. Isomorphic, I think, was the one duking out with One Step Behind to be the only 8-0. So they're 7-1. Covert Killer 7-1, and Dannibor 7-1, and Jerry, nice name, Jerry, also at 7-1. So those players are locked for top 8. We're waiting to get a few more results here and there. And in the meantime, we're seeing if there's any possible outstanding matches that we can jump in on. But it's looking like most of this round is coming to a close. There's a couple more matches outstanding, and we might be able to jump into one of them. I'm just waiting on the final word about that. So this is the first time we've done something like this, man. What do you think of it so far?
Oh, I love it. I think this needs to be a thing. Right? I mean, it's a hell of a organizational nightmare, right? The whole creating the list, checking the deck lists, making sure people submit the deck list. The whole logistics behind this event is pretty nightmarish, I can imagine. But the interest in it seems pretty high as well, I feel.
Yeah, the turnout was far greater than any of us anticipated, and it ended up making for a few more challenges to tackle. But as you said, yeah, it was a little tricky to organize and sort out, with distributing the sealed pool and the registration and everything else. I think the sealed pool document that we distributed, where it's like look up your sealed pool, ended up being over 1,000 pages long. There's a lot going into this, a lot of information to spread out, but I think it's safe to say it was worth it. I've been having a great time today. I'm not sure if some of our back end people like Rekenner can say the same, but I'm sure they've at least been entertained in spots.
Yeah, for me, all around.
All right, and I'm just getting word that there are no backup matches. The round is ending.
Ah, what a shame.
So now we're going to figure out exactly what top 8 looks like, and if top 8's even going down today. So we're going to take a quick break and figure that out, because this tournament has been running pretty long. It's already 7 o'clock my time, which means it's very, very late over in Europe. So we're going to see who's in top 8 and figure out if we can keep running this into the night or what's going on. So we're going to take a quick break here, get all the info, and be right back with all of that information. So stay tuned, stick around, and thank you so much for watching so far. I'm SirRhino, and we'll be back in just a moment.